Welcome to Twisted Liquid RC Boats. This episode of Twisted Liquid RC Boats is proudly brought to you by Blazer Marine. Interested in building an RC hydroplane? Check out blazermarine.com. Also, this episode is proudly brought to you by Slycat Racing. For all of your RC boat needs, slycatracing.com. Good day, everybody. Welcome back to Twisted Liquid RC Boats and the continuation in our Blazer Marine Lauterbach build series. Now, I know what you're thinking as you just clicked on this video. You don't see anything on the work surface here right now at the moment. But I promise you, if you watch till the end of this episode, I'll show you something on the work surface by the end of it. And today in this episode, we're going to discuss 3 topics with building this boat. The first topic we're going to discuss is build instructions, the instruction manual. The second topic that we're going to discuss is going to be building a jig for yourself to build the boat against. And the third topic we're going to discuss is dry fitting the boat together before you do any epoxy work or any official assembly work. So, let's get right into this episode, and let's start with the first thing we're going to discuss today, and that's the build manual for this boat. Now guys, I'm going to make a recommendation here to anybody who might build this boat. Go get a copy of the Lauterbach build instructions off the Blazer Marine website, printed for yourself. Now, I was very fortunate this week. I asked my foreman while on the job site if he ever sent any files to a local Staples store in order to get them printed. I was going to go to the local Staples and get it done. He picked up the phone and called our payroll girl at work, Miss Lisa Stagg, and Lisa was kind enough to print the entire manual for the boat for me with color photos and all. And it's going to make assembly of the boat very, very easy for me going forward because I have a decent reference for building the boat. So thank you, Lisa at work. I can't thank you enough. You know it's a pleasure working with you, and I truly appreciate you helping out by printing the manual for the boat for me. Thanks, Lisa. Anyways, guys, get yourself a copy of this printed for yourself. It's not hard to do. It's only 30 pages long. And if you can get it done in color, it's really nice. It makes it nice and easy for reference. Now, having said that, guys, there's one thing I want you to remember about this manual that you're going to print from online instructions off the Blazer website. It's for the Gen 1 boat. And any of the boats that you're building from this point in time video is recorded are Gen 2 boats. And you're going to notice some very subtle differences in the parts and some of the construction of the sponsons in the two differences in the boats. So familiarize yourself with what you're using to build the boat with, and take your time and orientate yourself with the pieces, like I've said so many times before. Now let's get into the second topic we're going to discuss today in this episode, and that's jig construction. Okay guys, when it comes to jig construction for building the Blazer Marine Lauterbach, we're going to build the boat on some 3/4 MDF. Now, if you refer to the manual suggests you should have about a 1-inch surface to build the boat on that's flat and level. I'm using 3/4 MDF. I went to my local Home Depot and I picked myself up a 48 by 97 inch long sheet, and I got a saw and I cut it down to size. Now, essentially your jig is going to be 2 tables that you're going to be able to build your boat off of that are 2 true level surfaces that you can work against in order to square everything up. And I'm going to lay it together in steps as I've done it so you can see what I mean by building 2 tables. Now this is the first table, the bottom of the jig. And if you check the dimensions of the Blazer Marine Lauterbach, you're going to find the boat is 52 inches long. So I built this base 53 inches long by 25 inches wide. And that's more than enough width for the outside of the sponsons and more than enough length for the boat. So the next thing I done was I got to a table saw and I cut myself two perfect 2-inch legs. Okay guys, the two 2-inch legs I cut them on a table saw because I wanted a perfectly straight edge to cut them against, and I wanted to keep them perfectly square and exactly the same size, the two of them. Now what I done was, for the base I cut it with a circular saw, but I used a straight edge as a guide for cutting the saw with the saw, so I could get some really nice clean cut edges. Now the two legs are going to hold our upper table to our bottom table, and I've got the upper table built so that the hull of the boat fits in it perfectly. So let's lay the upper table in place, and I'll show you the shape of that, and I'll give you its dimensions while we're discussing it. Okay guys, we got our 53 by 25 bottom table laid out. We've got our 53 by 2-inch high legs laid out. And now we've got our top table to our jig laid out in order to fit the hull of the boat. Now you'll notice that I have it cut in and notched right here. And that's because around bulkhead number 4, the boat narrows in on the design of the sponsons. Now I've got dimensions here on how I've got this done. And across the narrow part of the top table is 16 1/8 of an inch, right down through. If you come back from the front of the jig right here, 16 1/2 inches, and slot it at 16 1/8 wide, the boat will fit in perfectly. The back part of the jig, guys, is 17 3/16 of an inch. And you'll notice that from this bulkhead, back number 4, to the tail of the boat is wider in its design of its bulkheads. Now I had to shape the jig this way in order to get the hull to fit. I had a good dry fit done, and by taking measurements off of the hull and the dry fit, I could see how I had to build the jig. Now the only thing I got left to do is I got to get to my local hardware store, and I got to pick myself up some 1.5-inch screws, because we're dealing with 3/4 thick MDF, and I got to drill some holes, center all this up on the base bottom plate, the bottom table we'll say, and screw it together, and I got a great jig to build the boat against. Now the top table again is 53 inches long. So as you can see, it took one full sheet of MDF, 48 by 97, in order to make this jig, and I had lots left over. Cost me 55 bucks at my local Home Depot, but it's well worth it, because right now I have a level surface which I can build off. 2 level surfaces actually. I can build my sponsons completely square off of my bottom table. I can build my frame completely square off of my top table, and I can actually square up the sides of the boats also from the bottom table. So, would you guys like to see the Blazer Marine Lauterbach sitting in the jig so you can see how we're going to build it? I think that it would be pretty neat to show that to you before we end this episode, and we'll discuss the third topic we're going to talk about, which is a frame dry fit, and why you should do a good frame dry fit before you start epoxying your boat together. So let's have a look and see what the boat looks like in the jig. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, there you go. there's our frame dry fit on the Blazer Marine Lauterbach done. Now, I want you guys to notice that I've got the boat held together with nothing more than a few C-clamps, a few spring clamps, some binder clamps and some elastic bands, and just a little bit of masking tape in places to hold it together. And I know that some of the episodes that you watched already of me laminating the transom, laminating bulkhead 4 and the engine rails, building the radio box, building the front bow dovetail of the boat might have seemed boring and just a waste of time to you, but I was trying to get all of my little sub-assemblies done so I could get a really good dry fit done against a jig like I've got built, so I could see how I'm going to construct this boat. Now, if you look closely, I've got it held together with some 90-degree L brackets in critical places where I need to hold it together, but the boat is sitting completely flat, all pieces, against the work surface I got built. And I can square up all of my sponsons off my bottom table. I can square up all of my bulkheads down through my boat, off of my top table. And this is going to make my life very, very easy going forward. Now, if I do want to slot this jig out and eventually do the stuffing tube in the jig, I can take a jigsaw, drill some holes, and use a jigsaw and cut a slot out. And because of the 2-inch legs, I could actually do the stuffing tube in the jig also. But I would have to make some subtle changes to it to do it. Now guys, if you notice, I even got a Zenoa 260 engine mocked into the frame of the boat with gizmo lifetime mounts like they suggest to use at Blazer. And this is sitting, like I say, perfectly on this jig. Everything is sitting down flat, flush, unless it has a subtle bend in it, which is the natural contours and shapes of the boat. And I have a great surface here to work off of now to build my boat against. Even when I'm doing my sides of my boat, I can keep everything nice and square. And guys, while I was at Home Depot picking up the MDF, I ran into this nice little Milwaukee trim square, and I couldn't refuse it. I had to buy it. So it's going to help with constructing the boat and putting everything together and make life easy. Now guys, do a good dry fit, because as you're doing a good dry fit like this, you're orientating yourself with the assembly of this boat. And I can't stress enough, orientate yourself with the differences between a Gen 1 boat and a Gen 2 boat, because when you get to doing this work, it'll make your life very easy. And as I go through the construction of this boat, I'm going to pick out some of the subtle differences that I notice, and I'm going to try and explain them to you guys as we're going along. Now guys, like I told you, the only thing I got left to do is get to the hardware store, get some 1.5-inch long screws. So in the next episode, you're going to see the jig completely assembled like you see it there now, squared up and centered nicely. And we are going to start to tack some of this frame together. Now I'm going to blow it all apart again, and we're going to do it in certain sections and add it on. But as we get through a couple episodes, you're quickly going to notice that this frame is going to be back like you see it now, and the only difference is it's going to be all epoxied together, and there'll be nothing holding it except for the epoxy we used. So I suggest you keep watching, because I got a plan for getting this boat together, and I'm thinking it through as I'm doing it. And I'm referring to the right instructions and the right manual, and I really suggest print yourself a copy and make your life easy as you're building the boat. I can't thank you guys enough for watching Twisted Liquid RC Boats. I want to thank all the viewers of this channel. I want to thank all the people who are liking this channel. I want to thank all the people who are commenting. I want to thank all the subscribers. The subscriber count is steady up. And the numbers on all the build videos are up. So thanks guys, because I truly appreciate you watching what I'm doing here. I want you to take care of yourselves out there. I really mean that. And have a really good day. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like and subscribe. Take care and stay safe.